I want to start by saying I'm not someone who scares easily. I've traveled alone for work for almost 6 years. Hundreds of hotels, hundreds of check-ins, bad mattresses, and humming ice machines at 2 in the morning. None of it ever bothered me. Hotels were just places to sleep between places, until room 214 at the Callaway Inn. I still think about it. Not every day anymore. But whenever I'm on the road and I slide that key card into a door and hear that little click, there's always a second, just a fraction of a second, where I hesitate. Let me tell you what happened. It was a Tuesday in late October. I was driving through a stretch of rural Tennessee, somewhere between Nashville and nowhere, for a regional sales conference that had been pushed back twice already. My GPS had me on a 2-lane highway flanked by dense tree lines on both sides. And when a storm rolled in faster than the forecast had predicted, I decided to stop for the night rather than push through. The Callaway Inn sat just off the highway at exit 34. It wasn't a chain. It was one of those older roadside properties. 2 floors, exterior corridors, the kind of place where the sign out front was missing a letter and nobody had bothered to fix it. The parking lot had maybe 4 or 5 other cars scattered around. The lobby smelled like cedar and something else underneath it that I couldn't quite name. The woman at the front desk was maybe in her 60s. Pleasant enough. She didn't look up from her computer when I walked in, just started typing. "Just the one night?" she asked. "Just the one night," I said. She handed me a key card and a little paper sleeve with the room number written on it in pen. 214, second floor, end of the corridor. "Checkout's at 11, she said. That was the extent of our conversation. I didn't think anything of it. My room was at the very end of the hall, the last door on the right before the corridor dead-ended at a window overlooking the back of the property. Through that window, all you could see was tree line and darkness. The storm had settled into a steady, heavy rain by then, the kind that swallows sound. I swiped my key, pushed the door open, and hit the light switch. The room was fine, standard. 2 queen beds, a desk, and a TV mounted on the wall, a bathroom with that particular fluorescent flicker all budget hotel bathrooms seem to have. I tossed my bag on the far bed and kicked off my shoes. The first thing I noticed, and again I told myself it was nothing, was that the curtain over the window wasn't fully closed. There was a gap of maybe 3 inches on the left side. The window faced the exterior corridor, so technically anyone walking past could look in if they happened to glance at the right angle. I crossed the room and tugged the curtain shut. But the curtain rod was loose. It wouldn't stay. Every time I pushed the fabric over, it would drift back, leaving that same 3-inch gap. I remember thinking, I'll just leave the bathroom light off so there's nothing to see in here anyway. I put on the TV, some late-night talk show. I ordered a pizza from a place down the road that delivered. I ate. I watched. I was asleep by 10:30. Before we get to the part that still keeps me up at night. Yeah, if you're new here, this channel is where I share stories like this one. Real experiences, told the way they deserve to be told. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss one. They go up every week. All right, back to that night. I woke up at 2:17 a.m. I know the exact time because the alarm clock on the nightstand had one of those old red digital displays, and the first thing I did when my eyes opened was look at it. I lay there for a moment trying to figure out what had woken me, and the TV was still on. I'd fallen asleep without turning it off. The volume was low. Outside, the rain had softened to something barely audible, and then I heard it. Footsteps. In the corridor outside. Now I know what you're thinking. It's a hotel. People walk around. That's not strange. And you're right. Except these footsteps were slow. Slower than normal walking. The kind of pace that doesn't have a destination. They'd stop, then start again. Stop. Start. Right outside my door. I sat up. The footsteps stopped directly in front of room 214. I stared at the door. There was a thin line of light coming in from the corridor underneath it, and in that light I could see the shadow of 2 feet, just standing there. Whoever it was wasn't moving, wasn't knocking, wasn't sliding a keycard into the door, just standing. I didn't move. I don't think I breathed. After what felt like a very long time, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, the feet shifted. The shadow moved. When the footsteps started again, slow and even, continuing down the corridor toward the dead-end window. And then they stopped again, and didn't start back. I sat in the dark for a while, telling myself it was a guest, an insomniac, someone who couldn't sleep and was pacing the halls, completely normal, completely explainable. Then I made the mistake of looking at the curtain. The gap was still there. That same 3-inch gap on the left side, and through it I could see the corridor outside, awashed in that pale yellow light that outdoor walkways always seem to have. There was no one there. I exhaled, and then, as I watched, a shadow moved across the gap. Slowly, deliberately, from right to left, walking back in the direction of the stairwell. Except whoever it was walking on my side of the corridor, which meant they were walking directly along the face of my window, close enough that I should have heard footsteps. There were none. Not a single sound. I watched the shadow pass. Oh, it took about 4 seconds. Then it was gone. I didn't sleep again that night. At 6 a.m., I was already packed. I sat in the chair by the door until it was a reasonable hour, then went down to the lobby. The same woman was at the desk. I don't know if she'd been there all night or had come back early, but she was there, same posture, same quiet expression. I checked out. I was almost to the door when I turned back. "Can I ask you something?" I said. She looked up. Is there anyone else staying on the second floor? Room 214's corridor, far end?" She typed something. Looked at her screen for a moment. "You were the only guest on the second floor last night," she said. "We had 3 rooms occupied on the first floor. Second floor was just you." I nodded like that was a satisfying answer. It wasn't. I walked to my car. The rain had cleared overnight, and the morning was gray and still. So I loaded my bag into the trunk and was about to get in when I happened to look up at the second floor corridor. The dead-end window, the one at the far end of the hall, the one I could see from inside my room, had a handprint on it. From the outside. The Callaway Inn was 2 stories. There was no balcony, no ledge, no fire escape on that end of the building. The ground below that window was a good 20 feet down, soft from the rain. No ladder marks, no footprints in the mud below. I've thought about this for a long time. I've tried every explanation I can think of. Maybe it was an old handprint. Maybe maintenance had been up there at some point with a ladder and I just didn't see the marks. Maybe. But here's the thing, I keep coming back to the thing that makes me hesitate in doorways now, just for a second, whenever I'm on the road. That handprint wasn't on the outside of the glass. It was between the panes. I never went back to the Callaway Inn. I looked it up about a year later out of some morbid curiosity and found that it had closed. The listing just said permanently closed, no explanation, no reviews after a certain date. I don't know what was in that corridor. I don't know what was outside my window. I don't know what wanted me to know it was there, because that's what it felt like. Not like something hunting, like something showing itself. And honestly, I'm not sure which one of those is worse. If you've had something happen to you, something you can't explain, something that still makes you pause, drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and some of them end up becoming the next story on this channel. And if this one got under your skin, subscribe. New stories go up every week. The button's right there. It's free. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay safe out there. You subscribed? Good. Now watch this one.